Hey folks, Technivorous here, and today I'm going to tell you why, if you're a 3D printer, you should be using IceSL. And it doesn't mean it's got to be your only slicer, but the capabilities here are not to be overlooked. So stick around for a minute. I will show you a few of the coolest things it does, and you can decide for yourself if you agree with me or not. And reason number one. Now this reason is awesome, but it's not the best reason, so make sure you stick around. But there are some support options here that are actually pretty incredible. They're pretty standard for slicers these days, to be honest, but using them in conjunction is actually not. So let's go ahead and take a crack at this, and I will show you how easy it is to alter the supports. We're gonna have to go down through our layers. I have already sliced, so let's see, paint right here. So let's paint on this part right here and hit slice. Oh, gotta close the brush first. Alright, slice. Doesn't want to work with me here. There we go. So this is pretty cool, guys. Watch this. It's gonna totally affect the support placement. So when I scroll up again, you can see the half I painted on was not supported. So we can paint where to block the support or interdict, as they say here. Or we also have the option right below that, and this is just in the basic support settings, by the way. We can select the points to support. Say I'm not feeling confident about the bottom of this head on this pawn here, and I want to support a few other places here. Then all I gotta do is close everything, slice one more time. It's actually pretty quick. I like it. Alright, so not bad. Let's see. It's popped in support on those points right in there. See? So this is very, very handy, but like I said, not even the coolest thing that IceSL can do. Well, watch this. So now we're going to jump over to another program that actually comes with the download of IceSL that's not a slicer. It's known as the Forge, and what it is basically a place where you can code 3D models using LuaScript. So there's some high potential here for really cool things. I'll just show you a couple of the things that it does. I imported a model. That's not the right comment. I imported a model, and you can see that here, imported asset number 1. And then I took a cube model, which is what I'm calling mold here, because this is for another video on showing people how to make 3D printed molds. And I made that cube 50 millimeters, and I pushed the model I imported into the cube, and then I emitted the difference. And this is all done through scripting, so you can see this is the difference here, and that's what's being emitted. Now, if you'd like to see what the object actually looks like, it's not just a simple model. It's pretty detailed. I mean, not the most detailed, but pretty cool, right? So I imported that from an STL, which you can do by going to open, no, and we can grab any one of these models. I'm going to cancel instead, because I can also import and bring two models together to make one model. Let's open this up again. And let's see, let's rotate this back to 0. And then we're going to move it back to 0 on the Y. And we're going to move this up till it hits the tippy top. Way too high. Alright, let's try 30. Okay, let's try 50. A little high still. 40. Okay, now I can make some small tweaks and adjustments. Let's say we want to move it out a little bit. Oh, that's the Y. So we're going to go -5. Get the rest of that skull all the way out there. And say I want to reduce the scale to fit the pawn a little better. And then we move it up a little bit more. And we now have a skull pond. We can do 3.35. There we go. Got it completely out of the build there. Now, this object is my imported object. This object is the combination of the two, because I have two imported assets here. So, what we can do is use the scripting for a union here, combining the two models into one. So now I have one model here, and you can see and it looks alright. It's going to have a hell of an overhang there, especially since that goes up under. But this is more for aesthetic purposes and kind of showing you what it can do. So I've also changed the color because you can use a different brush here. And that shows you that this one object is represented in this color. So if I take this and I go to File, Save As, let's say Skull Pond, right? Then go back into IceSL. Let's go ahead and go to File, Load Model. I'm going to find my Skull Pond here. And it has loaded it as one model and it is ready to go. And you can do union multiple times, so you can build your own objects with pre-created objects or using the primitive shapes. So this is a really, really awesome for doing cool stuff that you can't really do very easily on other slicers. And since you're doing it mathematically from a Lua file, it's also capable of doing a lot of other things. Check this out. This is the documentation. This is just a cheat sheet basically, and it tells you everything that it's capable of doing to your model. So I mean, it does trigonometry. Emitting is basically where it just shows up, but there's all sorts of primitive shapes you can use and different parameters you can use to make them different sizes and shapes. Then there's some non-primitives where you can extrude. All you got to do is put in the points. You'd be like an SVG that you would extrude. And then lots of implicits. There's transformations. You can add 3D textures. You can put magnets in there. You can do all sorts of stuff. So we just did a union. You can do an intersection. You can do a difference, which is also pretty cool. That's how I make molds and stuff. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So, and for each one of these, there is pretty extensive documentation. I mean, it's not super long, but you can find a lot of cool, specific stuff if you're looking for help on how to do something to your model. So, I mean, all this stuff's here, ready to be used. It is completely free, and if you don't feel like downloading it, they do have the Web Forge, which is the same thing, but in the browser, and you can just load your models into their browser version of the slicer called SliceCrafter. And this is all on the IceSL website. I don't think I need a link for it. If you want to find it, you can do a little search yourself. It's the first thing that pops up, and it is really, really cool. So tell me now if you agree whether or not this is an awesome slicer to at least have in your arsenal, even if you're not using it all the time and your go-to is Kira or Prusa slicer. The capabilities that are available to this slicer, I have just barely breached the surface of. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for checking it out. Technivorous out.